I know they're going back and forth.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they would matter. If he wants to make some money, Floyd wants to make some money.
It's not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started talk. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. It makes no sense for me. It's not my what I'm looking at right now.
How many of those shots from Francis can you take? Tyson Fury, if you're talking clean, Tyson Fury only took one. Everything else, Tyson was able to roll with. Big Francis only had to hit him one time. Like, that's a compelling story, in my opinion.
Mike Tyson weighed in on the potential clash between Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou, pointing out that while the fight may not be the most evenly matched or logical on paper, it's guaranteed to grab attention and generate significant revenue. He noted that the curiosity over who would come out on top is what makes it such a compelling spectacle. Tyson also suggested that the unpredictable nature of this matchup could attract fans from both boxing and MMA circles, making it a truly crossover event.
You're such a big MMA fan. You know, I've been to UFC fights and I see you sitting octagon side. I can't help but wonder, if you had gotten into MMA as a young man, as a teenager, instead of boxing, how do you think your career would have went, Mike?
Hey, I had no idea, but I'm really enthused about the MMA, you know, because not thinking, I had no idea that Raphael, who's from a background of MMA, would know so much about boxing. I had no idea. You know, only thing I know about great boxing is the great Ed Joffa, who was a legendary boxer who happened to be Brazilian, but never knowing, not being conscious that he would know that much about boxing.
Do you think you could have learned all the wrestling moves and the takedown defense and could have been a champion in something like the UFC?
I could have done all that stuff. But once someone stepped on my foot, I would have tapped out. My feet are my weak spot.
Francis Ngannou has openly expressed that being offered a fight against Jake Paul feels like a slight to his reputation and career. He argues that Jake hasn't proven himself enough in the sport to warrant a match against someone of his caliber. Ngannou emphasizes that this type of matchup is not only disrespectful, but also highlights how entertainment-driven some fights have become, moving away from genuine competition.
Think about you to fight Jake to replace Javante. I'm like, who's Jake? You know, like, I was so confused, you know, like, I wasn't expecting that at all. And he said, yeah, Jake Paul, you know, he's fighting. And I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't disrespect me like that. And then they even say like, they even come out after and say, and what if the number are good? He sent out some number. I'm like, it's not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started talk. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. It makes no sense for me. It's not my what I.
On the possibility of Jake Paul facing Francis Ngannou, mixing curiosity with humor. He suggested that while the matchup might not be competitive in a traditional sense, it would highlight just how tough Jake really is. Sonnen pointed out that even a seasoned heavyweight like Tyson Fury was floored by a single punch from Ngannou. Considering Fury's size and experience advantage over Jake, Sonnen warned that Jake could be in serious trouble. He noted that while Jake's confidence and willingness to fight larger opponents is entertaining, taking on someone like Francis is a whole different level. According to Sonnen, Jake lacks the size, power, and durability of fighters like Fury, making the challenge extremely risky.
Tells this story that Nikista's offering him the fight, but he's just not hearing it that way. Like, all right, you said you need help, and you called me, and I'm happy to help you, but you know what is it that I can do? So when Francis finally realizes it, he not only says no, he says he was offended. He said, Jake, you want me to fight Jake? Jake who? He said, Jake Paul. He said, that makes no sense. That's the last thing I would want to do right now. It's the last thing that I'm looking for. And, all right. Now that is a good and comical story. And I think that Jake Paul deserves a lot of credit for that. I would have really liked if that match would have gotten booked. I mean, I think that would just solve so many problems from a storyline perspective. And there's this story going on out there and it has to do with courage. Now, how you ever question a combat athlete's courage, I think, is hard. How you ever question a boxer's courage, right? Where you've only got two things you can do, and they're both involve bludgeoning. You can't even grab a hold of the guy or try to squeeze him. You can only bludgeon and be bludgeoned back. I think you're got an uphill battle to question somebody. But they have been very effective in doing just that to Jake. Hey, you start with this NBA guy, and then even those MMA guys, they're not boxers. And then when you got around to the boxers, but they weren't current boxers. Then when you get around to the current boxers, they're not big enough boxers. And I just loved it. When I heard that Francis Ngannou might be going against Jake, I loved it. I mean, what's that gonna look like? How many of those shots from Francis can you take? Tyson Fury, if you're talking clean, Tyson Fury only took one. Everything else, Tyson was able to roll with. Big Francis only had to hit him one time. Like, that's a compelling.
Francis Ngannou and Ngannou aren't just bigger. They bring a level of power that Jake Paul hasn't experienced before. While Gervonta Davis relies on speed and precision as a lightweight, Ngannou competes as a heavyweight with devastating knockout capability. Experts emphasize that if Jake truly intends to step into the ring with Francis, he would need to completely overhaul his training. This involves not only building significant muscle mass, but also conditioning his body to withstand punches from someone weighing over 260 pounds. Everything from footwork and stamina routines to sparring methods would need serious adjustment. Competing against a lightweight demands agility and quickness, but a heavyweight like Ngannou requires strength, stability, and resilience. Analysts warn that this isn't another casual influencer fight. Jake would need extensive preparation with top-level coaches to stand a real chance.
Unique. It would be something incredible. It's the same reason that I would be intrigued by a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, although I would never advise Jake Paul to take a Anthony Joshua fight. I wouldn't advise him to take a Francis Ngannou fight either, because as much as Anthony is far better, which we saw when they actually fought, Joshua slept Francis Ngannou quicker than me after 2 melatonin. I mean, it was quick, fast, in a hurry, completely dominant. But we also saw Francis Ngannou go toe-to-toe with the heavyweight champion of the world at that time. Yes, he was out of shape. We understand that. But Tyson Fury on that night got the shock of his life when Francis Ngannou not only went toe-to-toe, but put him down and danced on him. To this day, I think that fight could have gone Francis's way. Point being, there are levels to this shit. Not just in boxing, but in combat in general. And the size difference Francis would have over Jake would be incredible, but it would have been a great event. And a lot of people would have tuned in. Francis, though, is saying that's not happening.
How can they go from like Gervonta Davis to Francis Ngannou? Like, I mean, Gervonta Davis is a fantastic boxer, but and is a one-shot knockout artist. But come on, like the weight different and everything, it makes no sense.
It's a good point. I mean, obviously, Francis is right about the weight difference, but it's a good point in general for what do you do next? Jake has sparred guys like Shakur Stevenson, Ray Ford, Montana Love to try to prepare for Tank Davis. And even if you book this fight on December 12th or December 19th, that's still a completely different fight than you were going into. Completely different matchup, size-wise, skill-wise, the things that you're going to need to even try to compete if it's someone like a Francis Ngannou or even an Andre Ward or whoever else, not just the fight styles.
Bradley, former boxing champion and analyst, highlighted that the cancellation of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight had a ripple effect far beyond the fighters themselves. According to Bradley, promoters, broadcasters, event planners, and marketing partners all faced significant financial setbacks after the sudden cancellation. The bout had been projected to generate millions in pay-per-view revenue and sponsorship. Deals, Bradley explained that Davis's legal troubles and surrounding controversies caused networks and sponsors to step back, concerned about potential damage to their brands. Many parties had already invested heavily in promotion, production, and logistics, only to see those plans collapse. He emphasized that this scenario demonstrates just how delicate the business side of boxing can be. When a fighter's reputation suffers, everyone connected to the event can feel the financial impact.
Let's get on Tank real quick. You gotta be the dumbest dude, in the history of boxing, bro. $40 million, dog, down the drain. You gotta be the dumbest dude I've ever seen in the history of boxing, bro. Seriously. I'm like, $40 million, bro. Wealth. Literally wealth, bro. Going down the drain. I don't understand it. I can't make the. I don't understand it. But I'll tell you this. You know, MVP promotions, whatever the hell y'all call it, most valuable promotions, shit, more like rookie promotions. Yeah, more like rookie promotions. You didn't know what you were dealing with. You had no clue. This has always been down Tank's alley, man. Now, let me just say one thing. You know, you innocent until proven guilty. Ain't no charges been pending on Tank at all. You know, but I'm just saying, this has always came up within the last few fights of Tank's career. Yeah, it has. And MVP, more like RP, rookie promotions. Yeah, y'all should have had a backup plan. You should have had a backup fighter. Yeah, you live and you learn. Oh, absolutely. You live and you learn. You should have had a plan B, just in case this man, Tank Davis, don't show up. Yeah. That's what you should have done. Now you're looking like idiots. You know, I heard through the grapevine the joint wasn't even selling. Yeah, because everybody's tired of your bull crap, Jake Paul. Yeah, everybody's tired of that.
Former UFC heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier weighed in on the buzz surrounding Jake Paul potentially facing Francis Ngannou. Cormier emphasized that boxing and MMA are fundamentally different sports, each requiring distinct skills, timing, and mental strategies. He noted that Jake has yet to face a seasoned professional boxer, with most of his previous opponents being MMA fighters, celebrities, or retired athletes. Now Jake is reportedly considering a fight with Ngannou, an MMA fighter who recently went toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury in the boxing ring and gave him a strong challenge. Cormier questioned whether Jake's motivation is truly competitive or driven more by publicity. He also highlighted that Jake may be underestimating the challenge of facing a heavyweight with immense punching power. In MMA, Ngannou's strength is already feared, but in a boxing context, it becomes even more focused.
Right? Boxing is much different than mixed martial arts. The target audience might be the same, but the demographics different. The places where people are brought up are different. There's bigger entourages in boxing. It's just a different world in boxing. We've known that from the very beginning. We know that Gervonta Davis was not going to just play to Jake Paul's rules. I still don't know exactly why this thing is falling apart, but it is falling apart bad. It is bursting at the seams. We are almost exactly where we should have never started. This should have never gotten started, but it did. But we are almost now exactly where we need to be in the fight, and that's it being off. It being off. So, the CEO of Most Valuable Productions is a guy named Nikisa Badarian. He said, our team has worked closely with all parties to navigate the situation responsibly. While we will not be moving forward with this event, our plan still remains for Jake to headline on Netflix in 2025. Details regarding a new date, location, a new opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalized. So, Gervonta Davis is out of the fight. Like I said, guys, we honestly should have never had a fight. We should have never had that fight even on the docket, but it was happening. You knew it had potential to be a nightmare. It turned out to be exactly what
MVP Promotions and Netflix have officially confirmed that the highly anticipated Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight has been canceled. While the Netflix boxing event will still proceed, Jake will now face a different opponent in the main event. Commentator Ariel Helwani praised Netflix for taking a responsible approach by removing Davis from the lineup. He noted that the streaming platform could not ethically promote a fighter currently facing multiple allegations of misconduct and alleged mistreatment. Helwani explained that keeping Davis on the card could have negatively impacted the reputation of Netflix's first major boxing event. By considering alternatives such as Francis Ngannou or Ryan Garcia, MVP Promotions and Netflix aim to preserve the excitement of the event while avoiding association with controversial figures. The cancellation is a setback for Davis, highlighting how top organizations are cautious about supporting fighters whose legal issues remain unresolved.
So, Most Valuable Promotions, the promotion co-founded by Jake Paul and Nikisa Bedarian, posted this on social media. They posted that they were officially canceling the fight, saying Most Valuable Promotions immediately initiated an investigation. No, I had the wrong one. Okay, I'm reading this one. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix have announced that Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, the one I was reading was the one from late last week, originally scheduled for Friday, November 14th at the Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida, will no longer be moving forward. Quote, our team has worked closely with all parties to navigate this situation responsibly, said Nikisa Bedarian, CEO of MVP. While we will not be moving forward with this event, our plan remains for Jake Paul to headline an event on Netflix in 2025. And that is what I'm hearing as well. They want him to fight in December. That is the hope. And they're actively looking for a opponent. More on that in a moment. Details regarding a new date, location, Jake's opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalized. We thank Netflix, Kaseya Center, Seminole Hard Rock and Hotel and Casino for their partnership. Then there's some information about, fans who purchase tickets. You can see all of this online. I did speak to Nikisa briefly, and I've seen some people say like, hey, and this was his take. Like, I asked him two questions, basically, like, did this have anything to do with the ticket sales? He said this was going to be a very, very successful event for them financially. And the other thing was like, Tank Davis has a checkered past. He had a checkered past when this fight was made. What changed? Well, obviously, two incidents, allegations, lawsuit. Since the fight was announced, they at the time felt like this was an opportunity for people to learn about who Tank Davis is, for him to show the world that he was a changed man, all this stuff and more. And that didn't happen, and they felt like they had to cancel the event. For the record, I feel like this was 100% the right call. You can't be a promotion that is so heavily invested in women's boxing and work with a guy who has allegations and lawsuits pending.
That wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates and insights.